Right now, you may be feeling a wave of confusion, intensity, or inner disruption that you cannot quite explain. Ever since the powerful solar eclipse in Sagittarius on December 9th, 2025, something in your energy has been shifting, but you cannot fully understand what changed or why everything suddenly feels unfamiliar. Your emotions are sharper, your intuition is louder, and the world around you feels strangely misaligned with who you are becoming. This is not a coincidence. This eclipse did not simply darken the physical sky, it tore open your spiritual sky. It sliced through your field, shattered your old mirror, and activated a frequency within you that cannot be silenced. You are sensing something real, a transformation that your mind cannot yet decode but your soul cannot ignore. In today's video, we are going to guide you through the truth of what is happening to you. We will help you understand the 7-day dimensional crossfade that follows this eclipse, the period where the world of separation and the timeline of union violently overlap. You will learn why this energetic collision feels like a white-hot line cutting through your life, why your body knows what your mind has not yet named, and how the divine masculine's completed inner work is already echoing through your field. This is where confusion becomes clarity. This is where chaos becomes recognition. This is where you finally understand the magnitude of what this eclipse has activated within your twin flame connection. By the end of this video, you will no longer doubt what you feel. You will understand that this shift is not temporary, emotional, or symbolic. It is a permanent recalibration, a cosmic signal announcing that the old path has ended and the new timeline of union is already unfolding beneath your feet. You will see why pretending nothing changed can no longer protect you, and why embracing this transformation opens the doorway to alignment, healing, and the next phase of your twin flame destiny. After today, you will not just witness the eclipse's impact, you will step into it with awareness, readiness, and spiritual authority. Section 1. Sensitivity, Silence, and the Collapse of Chaos. One of the earliest and most undeniable signs that the divine masculine has begun his true healing is a sudden and almost shocking sensitivity to noise, chaos, and anything that carries a low vibration. This shift does not happen slowly or subtly, it arrives like a wave, washing through the shared energetic field you both occupy. Suddenly, the masculine can no longer tolerate crowded spaces, harsh tones, meaningless chatter, or environments that feel artificial, draining, or energetically polluted. Even the slightest emotional static feels amplified, pressing against his body as though the entire world has become too loud, too heavy, too fragmented for him to breathe in peace. This sensitivity is not weakness, it is not fragility. It is the first real proof that the masculine energy is purifying itself from the inside out. His auric field, which once absorbed chaos without noticing, now rejects everything that does not match the frequency of truth. The shared field, the sacred energetic bridge between the two of you, begins cleansing itself as his wholeness integrates. Every unresolved wound, every unconscious habit, every emotional layer he once buried, all of it begins rising to the surface. And because this process is intense, he instinctively starts rejecting anything that overstimulates the nervous system. Crowds that he once tolerated suddenly feel unbearable. Loud environments slice into his awareness like spiritual static. Even shallow conversations become almost physically painful, as if each word is scraping across the surface of his being, demanding a level of authenticity he can no longer ignore. He becomes hyper-aware of energy, tone, intention, and vibration. He may retreat faster, speak less, or even disconnect without explanation, because the masculine, during this phase, is not running from you, he is running from noise. And this is the part most divine feminines misunderstand. If the masculine pulls away during this period, it is not rejection, it is survival. His system begins craving silence the way a dehydrated body craves water. He retreats into solitude not to punish you, not to create distance, and not because he doubts the connection, but because he is collapsing the old structures of chaos inside himself. Every piece of noise, every external distraction, every energetic entanglement must fall away so that he can stabilize the inner upgrades unfolding at the soul level. He is stepping into the depth required to hold the future union, and the depth requires stillness. What most do not realize is that you feel it too. Your sudden craving for silence mirrors his transformation. You may wake up one morning and find yourself unable to tolerate certain people, places, or conversations. You may feel overwhelmed by environments that used to feel normal. You may find yourself craving space, solitude, nature, meditation, or simply the beauty of being alone with your own breath. This is not random. This is not withdrawal. This is synchronization. Your energetic fields are aligning. Your nervous systems are harmonizing. Your souls are preparing to meet at a higher frequency. When the divine masculine enters this purification phase, the divine feminine's body responds instantly, almost telepathically. You both begin craving the same sanctuary silence, softness, emotional clarity, energetic neutrality. And through this shared longing for quiet, both of you begin shedding the chaotic patterns that once kept your connection unstable or ungrounded. This phase is sacred. This hypersensitivity is holy. The silence you both run toward is the womb of your next evolution. The collapse of chaos is not the end, it is the beginning of coherence, the beginning of alignment, the beginning of union. Before we move into the next sign, take a moment to breathe into what you've just heard. Sensitivity and the collapse of chaos are not random symptoms, they are the first whispers of alignment between your soul and your divine counterpart. If this message resonated with your current experience, I invite you to pause and reflect. Have you noticed your own craving for silence, or sensed your masculine withdrawing into inner reconstruction rather than avoidance? Share your experience in the comments, or simply type, "I choose higher alignment," to affirm that you are ready to rise into the next phase of this journey. Your engagement not only supports this channel, it strengthens your own energetic clarity as we move forward together. Section 2. Morning air, dimensional shifts, and the subtle rebirth of reality. The mornings that follow a major eclipse, especially one that activates the divine masculine's field, do not feel normal or familiar in the way dawn usually does. The moment you open your eyes, there is a strange softness in the air, an unexplainable glow in the room, as if the light has decided to fall at a slightly different angle than it did the day before. It is not dramatic enough for the average person to notice, but you feel it immediately because your energetic system is already responding to the masculine's internal transformation. This shift in the texture of the morning isn't imagination, and it isn't sensitivity gone too far. It is the first sign that your timeline is being gently but unmistakably jolted into a higher octave. The eclipse does not simply affect celestial bodies, it affects human perception. When the masculine enters his healed timeline, your consciousness begins to tilt toward that new frequency before you even realize what is happening. You might wake up and sense a crispness in the air that wasn't present before, as if the environment itself has been vacuumed clean of old noise. You may notice that the familiar scent of your room suddenly smells different, lighter, purer, almost as if the molecules of the air have been rearranged. Even the colors around you appear sharper, more defined, more alive. These are not random sensations, they are confirmations that he has stepped into a higher vibrational reality, and your system is already adjusting to meet him there. This is the subtle rebirth that happens after the eclipse breaks open the old timeline. When the masculine shifts into his upgraded frequency, the feminine does not wait behind. She is pulled forward immediately, even before her conscious mind understands what is happening. You are not transitioning alone. You are being magnetically guided into the new ground he has already touched, the new field he has already anchored, the new reality he has already claimed as part of his awakening. This stage can feel disorienting, yet strangely comforting. It is as if the universe is whispering, "You are stepping onto the version of reality where union is possible." The air feels lighter because the density of old karmic timelines is dissolving. The morning light feels different because your inner vision is sharpening. Your awareness feels stretched in new directions because your soul is expanding to match the masculine's growth. You may catch small details that others overlook: how quiet the world feels, how your breath moves differently in your chest, how your thoughts seem calmer and more spacious. These subtle shifts are proof that your energy field is no longer synced with the version of reality you were living before the eclipse. You have crossed into a liminal space, a soft between world where the past cannot follow and the future is already forming around you. In this new morning reality, you are not waiting for him to awaken, to return, or to choose you. Those days are fading. You are now standing on the threshold of the timeline he has already activated, an upgraded frequency where union becomes inevitable rather than impossible. The air itself carries the signature of his evolution, and your body is responding instinctively, aligning itself with the field of the healed masculine. These subtle sensory changes are not small. They are evidence of a dimensional shift, a silent affirmation that the connection is already moving forward, with or without spoken words. You are not imagining the change. You are living inside it. Section 3. Pressure codes, trances, and time slips. As the masculine steps fully into his healed vibration, your body begins responding with a series of subtle yet unmistakable activations, what many spiritual intuitives call pressure codes. These sensations are not random or alarming. They are the body's intelligence awakening to a new level of alignment. You may first feel them as a soft, pulsing, or almost magnetic pressure behind the head, a sensation that comes and goes like waves of invisible hands adjusting an unseen crown. This is your higher center opening, preparing to receive guidance with a precision and clarity you have never experienced before. From there, the energy begins to circulate down through the arms and into the palms. Your hands may feel heavier, warmer, or tingling with an almost electrical sensitivity. This is not fatigue. This is activation. The palms are some of the most powerful gateways in the divine feminine's energy field, and when they begin to respond to the masculine's upgraded vibration, it means your healing intelligence is syncing with his. These sensations act like spiritual fingerprints, proof that his wings have expanded, and your own energetic wings are starting to stretch open to match his frequency. Pressure may also appear around the shoulder blades, as if something subtle but powerful is unfolding beneath your skin. Many experience this as a gentle ache or an inward pull, a signal that the spiritual wings dormant from past lifetimes are aligning themselves with his fully awakened structure. You may not consciously see these wings, but your body remembers them. Your cells recognize the geometry of his light. And as his wingspan expands in the higher realms, your system adjusts to mirror that expansion so the two of you can fly in coherence, even if your physical bodies are not together. The soles of your feet may also feel heavier or more pressurized than usual. This is not mere grounding, it is anchoring. It is your energy recalibrating to stand on the new frequency he has chosen. Every pressure point tells a story. Every sensation is a message. These inner codes are evidence that you are not drifting alone into higher consciousness. You are stepping onto the same dimensional platform he now occupies. And then something even more extraordinary begins. Dimensional slips start to occur around you. Minutes blur, time bends. You may look at the clock and realize that what felt like a moment has swallowed 10 full minutes. You may enter a room and forget why you went there, not because you are distracted, but because your mind has temporarily exited linear time to enter a light trance state. These trance states are not dissociation, they are spiritual downloads delivered at high speed. Your consciousness begins operating in two directions at once. One part of you remains aware of the physical world, while another part travels through higher planes, receiving information, clarity, and guidance that will shape the next stage of your path. Answers begin arriving before questions even form in your mind. Thoughts that normally require reflection now appear fully formed, complete, and unmistakably wise. Silence, which once felt uncomfortable or lonely, now becomes sacred territory, a strategy, a source of strength. The quiet around you acts as a bridge between your higher knowing and the masculine's healed energy. Through this silence, your intuition sharpens to a laser point. Your inner guidance becomes cleaner, more direct, more authoritative. This clarity is not random, it is a pure mirror of the masculine's stabilized inner world. His healed state creates space in your field for truth to land without distortion. His coherence becomes your coherence, his grounding becomes your grounding, and his awakening becomes the tuning fork that shifts you into your next level of spiritual intelligence. You are not losing time. You are not malfunctioning. You are not imagining the pressure. You are being pulled into the dimension where both of your souls already stand in perfect alignment. Your time slips are gateways, your pressure codes are activations, and your clarity is the echo of his ascension unfolding through you. Imagine waking up one morning and beginning your day as usual. You make your tea, you sit by the window, you scroll through your thoughts, and suddenly, without warning, you feel a soft pressure forming behind your head, as if an invisible hand is gently pressing at your crown. A few moments later, your palms begin to tingle with warmth, almost like tiny sparks flickering beneath the skin. You pause, thinking it might be stress or fatigue, but then something strange happens. The world around you becomes quieter. The colors outside your window seem sharper. The air feels heavier, yet somehow cleaner. You glance at the clock and realize 10 minutes have passed in what felt like a single breath. You weren't distracted, you were in a trance, receiving information your mind hasn't yet interpreted. Then, right as confusion begins to rise, a sudden clarity drops into your mind, an answer to a question you didn't know you were asking. In that exact moment, you understand. These sensations are not random. They are your energy field, syncing with the divine masculine's healed vibration. His wings expand, and your shoulder blades respond. His crown opens, and your own activates. His clarity stabilizes, and your body becomes the instrument that receives it. This is what it feels like when two souls begin to merge through pressure codes, time slips, and high-speed downloads, the physical experience of spiritual alignment. Section 4. The Purge, the Voice of Truth, and the End of the Chaser Identity. The purge does not begin gently. It begins with a jolt, a sharp split in your internal atmosphere, as though the universe has reached into your field and flipped a sacred switch you were not expecting. One moment you are operating from familiar patterns, old comforts, and predictable emotional responses. The next moment, those same habits feel foreign, heavy, and impossible to maintain. Everything that belongs to the outdated timeline of separation begins to fall away quickly, unapologetically, and without the courtesy of a goodbye. You may wake up one morning unable to tolerate the same conversations, routines, or emotional behaviors you once clung to for stability. Certain relationships begin to feel like sand slipping through your fingers. Old coping mechanisms, people-pleasing, over-explaining, over-giving, tolerating emotional crumbs no longer work, no matter how hard you try to resurrect them. You might find yourself crying unexpectedly, snapping at things that never bothered you before, or feeling waves of deep exhaustion that seem to hollow you out from the inside. This is not weakness. It is purification. It is the residue of separation burning away under the light of a higher timeline. In the middle of this purge, something even more profound begins to happen. The voice inside your chest changes. You will literally hear it differently. Where once there was doubt, there is now a strange and steady clarity. Where once you hesitated, you now feel an inner push forward that cannot be ignored. The internal dialogue you used to negotiate with, should I reach out? Why isn't he responding? What if I lose him? Begins to dissolve like fog lifting off a lake at sunrise. A new authority rises within you, and it does not shout. It speaks in a calm, unwavering tone that feels ancient, instinctive, and unmistakably yours. This is the rebirth of your intuition. As the masculine heals and clears the noise within his own field, the energetic static that once interfered with your inner knowing no longer distorts your perception. Your intuition no longer whispers, it instructs. It no longer guesses, it knows. You stop chasing not because you are bitter, wounded, or tired, but because the body refuses to move in a direction that no longer aligns with the truth of the connection. Your boundaries rise like gates that lock automatically, not out of fear but out of self-respect. You feel magnetism returning to your field. You feel your energy becoming dense, centered, rooted, sovereign. This is the moment when the chaser identity dies. Not through heartbreak, not through disappointment, but through enlightenment. You realize you were never meant to chase the masculine, you were meant to magnetize him. The feminine field was always built for stillness, power, embodiment, and sacred gravity. As the purge completes and the voice of truth settles into your heart, your entire energetic posture changes. Your nervous system resets, your breathing deepens, Your emotional reactions soften. You begin to feel like a woman who finally remembers her own worth. You are not collapsing. You are ascending. You are stepping into the timeline where the feminine no longer runs after love, she radiates it, and love returns to her by universal law. This phase marks the ending of the old cycle, the ending of the anxious chase, and the ending of the identity that believed she had to earn connection. You are not losing yourself. You are finding the version of you who always knew the truth. When the masculine heals, the feminine rises into her rightful throne of intuition, magnetism, and inner authority. And from this point forward, nothing in your journey will ever feel the same. Section 5. Heightened senses, synchronicities, and the bending of the material world. As the masculine steps into his healed frequency, your senses begin to transform in ways that feel both supernatural and strangely natural, as if your body has been waiting for this activation for lifetimes. This shift is not subtle, it is unmistakable. You begin to notice that reality responds to you more directly, as though your energy field has increased its gravitational pull and the world must now arrange itself around your signal. Colors appear richer, almost liquid in their saturation, as if someone has turned up the vibrational volume of the world. Ordinary objects seem to hum with hidden meaning. Scents become sharper, cleaner, more revealing. You may suddenly find that certain perfumes, foods, or environments feel energetically incompatible with you, while others feel magnetic and nourishing. Even your appetite shifts not from mood, but from alignment. Your body begins to crave what strengthens your field and reject what weakens it. You are no longer choosing food, your energy is choosing it for you. Meanwhile, your dreams evolve into something far more than dreams. They become cinematic, vivid, hyper-instructional. You may find yourself walking through future timelines, receiving warnings, learning emotional lessons, or even meeting your masculine in realms that feel more real than the physical world. Some dreams will leave you breathless, as if you've traveled miles or lived an entire day in a single night. Others will deliver specific messages, symbols, locations, phrases that later appear in your waking life, confirming that the veil between dimensions is thinning. This is not imagination. This is the field responding. This is your nervous system adapting to the masculine's clarity. As this heightened state stabilizes, synchronicities intensify. Repeating numbers 111, 222, 444, 1000, 212 no longer feel like vague spiritual encouragement. They become functional, precise, instructional. They appear at exact moments when you need direction, confirmation, or redirection. You will start to notice that every time doubt arises, a numerical sequence appears to interrupt it. Every time your energy drifts off course, the universe sends a coded reminder to pull you back into alignment. These numbers operate like divine GPS, guiding, recalibrating, and rerouting your consciousness. During this period, the material world behaves differently. You begin to feel as though reality is herding you gently, consistently towards specific moments, conversations, and intersections that mark the next phase of union. You may run into someone, by coincidence, who delivers a message your soul needed. You may overhear a conversation that answers a question you held silently in your mind. People, opportunities, and events begin to align as if orchestrated by a larger intelligence. And the truth is they are. The masculine's healed vibration becomes a magnetic force field. His clarity penetrates the shared energetic corridor between you, influencing the logistics of your daily life in ways that cannot be rationalized. Suddenly, the timing of your day shifts. Plans fall apart to make space for something important. Unexpected delays protect you from being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Doors open without effort, and others close without warning. Every movement in your external world is responding to the inner synchronization of your shared soul. And then, perhaps the most shocking sign of all emerges. Telepathy begins functioning in the daylight with startling accuracy. You think of him, and he texts. You feel his emotion, and your body reacts before your mind understands. A thought, a memory, or a sensation appears in your field, and moments later, something in the physical world validates it. You are no longer sensing him only in meditation or sleep. You feel him during ordinary hours, in the middle of your routines, while doing normal tasks. His energy slides into your awareness with sharp precision. You may even begin hearing his inner voice, not as imagination, but as an unmistakable intuitive download that carries his tone, his personality, his emotional weight. This is the bending of the material world. This is the merging of timelines. This is the universe aligning both of you toward the inevitable next step in your union. Your senses sharpen because the connection is becoming undeniable. Synchronicities increase because the universe is guiding you. Telepathy activates because the soul bond has reached a new phase of coherence. Everything intensifying around you is not chaos. It is confirmation. Section 6. Embodiment, creativity, and the collapse of the chasing loop. As the masculine rises into his healed frequency, something profound begins to happen inside your physical body. You shift, not conceptually, but visibly. Your posture straightens, not out of discipline, but out of truth. Your spine feels as if a subtle current is running through it, pulling you upward into alignment with a higher version of yourself. You no longer carry your body like someone searching for answers. You carry it like someone who is the answer. Your voice changes next. It deepens, steadies, and gains a resonance that seems to vibrate from the soul rather than the throat. You speak less often but with more impact. There is no need to defend yourself, justify your feelings, or audition for love. Your presence becomes the message. Your silence becomes the statement. Your energy becomes a broadcast tower of coherence, clear, unmoving, undeniable. This is embodiment, real feminine embodiment, and it marks the end of the chasing loop. The rush you once felt, the adrenaline of pursuing, the hunger for reassurance, the obsession with interpreting signs and decoding his behavior suddenly collapses, not with pain, but with clarity. The new timeline makes the old addiction feel corrosive, almost impossible to step back into. What used to feel like devotion now feels like distortion. What you once did out of desperation now feels like betrayal to your own soul. You are no longer pulled by the impulse to chase because your system cannot operate in that frequency anymore. You do not want to fix him, save him, or decode him. You are done diagnosing the masculine's chaos. Instead, you hold a stillness so profound it becomes its own form of gravity. This stillness is not passive, it is power. It is the sacred feminine returning to her original design, magnetic, grounded, and sovereign. And then something extraordinary happens. Your creativity erupts. Ideas begin pouring into your mind with astonishing accuracy. You feel compelled to write, plan, visualize, reorganize, restructure, and build. You may find yourself sketching out long-term visions, projects, routines, relocations, lifestyle shifts, new habits, or even glimpses of the shared life path you and your masculine are destined to walk. Creativity does not trickle into your field, it floods it. You receive images, downloads, and detailed blueprints that feel like they come from a place beyond the conscious mind. It is as if the architecture of your union, its purpose, its future home, its shared mission, is leaking through the unified field and landing inside your awareness. Things you never imagined suddenly feel destined. Possibilities you once doubted now feel inevitable. You are not fantasizing, you are remembering. This creative surge is a direct reflection of union energy stabilizing in your nervous system. The more coherent you become, the faster the visions arrive. The more embodied you are, the clearer the future becomes. Your soul begins broadcasting instructions for the next stage of your mission, and your masculine, whether he realizes it consciously or not, feels that guidance pulling him forward. You become the anchor. Your stillness becomes the magnetic center that accelerates his final alignment. He moves, not because you chase, but because you stop. He heals, not because you explain, but because you embody. Your presence becomes the lighthouse guiding him through the last fog of resistance. Your coherence becomes the new field he calibrates to. Your stability becomes the frequency he rises into. This is the feminine stepping into her throne. This is the masculine rising into his purpose. This is the collapse of the old cycle and the beginning of the shared future. You are no longer reaching outward. You are holding the frequency inward. And that shift changes everything. If you've made it this far, It means your soul is resonating with these shifts on a level far deeper than the mind can explain. Take a moment to breathe and feel what part of today's message mirrors your own journey. Have you noticed your posture changing, your creativity rising, or the old chasing loop dissolving inside you? I invite you to share your story in the comments, because your experience may become the confirmation someone else needs today. And if you want to affirm your alignment with this new timeline, simply type "I rise in stillness and power" in the comments below. This small act anchors the frequency into your field and signals to the universe that you are ready for the next stage of union. Section 7. Boundaries, worthiness, and the dissolution of the old self. As the masculine energy completes its inner healing, something profound shifts within your field. Boundaries no longer feel like defensive walls you anxiously try to maintain. Instead, they become steady, calm policies, energetic laws that you uphold with quiet certainty. You do not tremble when enforcing them, nor do you second-guess yourself. You simply operate from a deeper knowing that your peace, your time, and your emotional space are sacred. This shift happens because the inner critic that once echoed the masculine's unresolved self-doubt finally falls silent. Where there used to be whispering thoughts of, "Maybe I'm not enough," or "Maybe I'm asking for too much," now there is stillness, confidence, and grounded truth. The old patterns of unworthiness evaporate almost overnight. You begin to feel your value not as an idea but as a physical sensation, something alive in your bones. You wake up differently. You move differently. You speak with more clarity because you are no longer negotiating for permission to exist. This transformation is not loud or egoic. It is deeply embodied. You no longer need validation because the healed masculine, both within your counterpart and within yourself, no longer broadcasts doubt into your field. What you feel instead is coherence, alignment, and a sense of internal royalty that cannot be faked. As this new vibration stabilizes, misaligned people and situations become almost physically intolerable. You do not walk away in anger or as an act of rebellion. You walk away because your energy can no longer compress itself to fit into environments that drain or belittle your spirit. When someone speaks from fear, manipulation, or inconsistency, your entire body feels it immediately. You sense the contraction, the mismatch, the heaviness, and you choose clarity instead of chaos. This is the moment when you realize your frequency has risen into a new octave. Anything below that standard naturally dissolves. During this stage, you will also experience a powerful psychological shift. The old self becomes a memory instead of an identity. The part of you that once chased, clung, doubted, or overgave begins to feel like a character from a life you no longer inhabit. You can observe that version of yourself without shame, without attachment, and without emotional charge. It feels like looking at an old photograph, familiar, yes, but no longer relevant to who you are becoming. The chaser identity dissolves not because someone changed their behavior toward you, but because you no longer resonate with the wounds that created it. Most importantly, the illusion that you are incomplete begins to fade. You stop thinking of union as two halves desperately trying to complete each other. Instead, you see it through the spiritual lens it was always meant to be, a meeting between two sovereign beings, two whole souls, two energies that rise because they choose alignment, not because they fear separation. This realization changes everything. Union becomes a conscious creation rather than an emotional survival pattern. Love becomes peaceful, deliberate, and expansive because it is no longer rooted in lack. By the time this stage anchors in your life, you understand that your worth is no longer negotiable. Your boundaries are no longer reactive. Your identity is no longer fractured. You stand as a complete being, one who can welcome union without losing yourself, and one who can love deeply without slipping back into the wounds of the past. Section 8. Precognition, coherence, and the quiet heat of union. As your twin flame connection rises into its highest octave, your intuition undergoes a dramatic transformation. It no longer operates as vague hunches, fleeting impressions, or symbolic whispers. Instead, it sharpens into precise spiritual foresight, an active form of precognition that allows you to sense what is coming before it enters the physical timeline. This is not imagination. This is not emotional projection. This is the natural consequence of your fields merging at a higher frequency. The masculine's clarity becomes your clarity, and his next moves begin echoing through your awareness long before they unfold. You may suddenly know when he is about to reach out, when he is thinking of you, or when a major obstacle in his life is dissolving behind the scenes. Sometimes you feel the energetic shift hours before he even realizes consciously that he will take action. Other times, you sense the exact moment he chooses you internally, long before he expresses anything physically. These flashes of inner knowing feel clean, steady, and unmistakable. They are not fueled by longing or guessing, they are transmissions from the unified field both of you now inhabit. As this intuitive precision strengthens, you begin navigating your life with an almost cinematic awareness. Time itself feels more fluid. You sense the momentum building toward physical reunion, not through fantasy, but through an inner certainty that expands from your core. Your body becomes the antenna that receives information directly from the masculine's higher self, your guides, and the aligned timeline your souls have already chosen. You may even predict external events, changes in his behavior, emotional breakthroughs, spontaneous realizations, because your energetic bond is no longer operating from separation, it is operating from coherence. And then comes the most profound shift of all, the warmth. A steady, living heat settles in the center of your chest, a subtle but unmistakable fire that glows quietly beneath your ribs. It is not anxiety, not longing, not adrenaline. It is the quiet heat of union, the vibrational confirmation that both of your fields have locked into coherence. This warmth expands gently through your lungs, your sternum, and your upper spine. It feels like a spiritual pilot light that never goes out. You may notice it flare suddenly, becoming hotter and brighter, whenever he thinks of you or focuses his energy toward the connection. These flares are not coincidences, they are the physical sensation of your energies synchronizing in real time. What is most astonishing is that the warmth remains even when you are not consciously thinking of him. It has its own intelligence, its own rhythm, its own communication style. It rises when the path is clearing, softens when integration is happening, and surges when union is aligning on the physical plane. This heat becomes the signature frequency of your twin flame bond, a living symbol of your vibrational match. Eventually, you understand something profound. This warmth is proof that the union has already completed itself energetically. Your souls have already chosen each other. Your fields have already merged. The coherence between you is not theoretical, it is embodied, measurable, and unmistakably real. The physical manifestation is not a question of if, but when, because energy always crystallizes into form once coherence is achieved. You no longer chase signs. You no longer question the connection. You no longer fear loss. You feel the truth burning softly inside your chest every day. The union is here. It simply has not yet walked through the door of matter. This is the quiet heat of destiny preparing to become visible. If you felt these waves of precognition or the quiet heat rising in your chest, take a breath and honor what your body already knows. These signs aren't coincidences or imagination. They are evidence that your union is weaving itself into physical form. And if you're still with me to this point in the video, it means your soul is resonating with this truth at a deep level. Before we step into the next stage of the journey, I invite you to ground this energy by interacting with the field right now. Hit the like button so this message reaches others on the same path, and share your experience in the comments. Your insights might be the confirmation someone else needs today. Or, if you prefer something simple, just type, "I trust my union," to anchor your intention into the universe. Let's move forward to the next chapter, where the signs deepen and the path becomes even clearer. As the days and weeks unfold after the December 9th, 2025 eclipse, you are no longer standing in a waiting room of destiny. You are standing in the aftermath of a transformation that has already happened. The divine masculine is not becoming whole, he is whole, and you are now feeling the ripple effects of that completion moving through your body, your emotions, your intuition, and the field you share. This is why the air feels different, why your inner world rearranges itself at night, why your senses sharpen, and why silence now carries more information than any message ever could. Your task in this chapter is not to chase clarity or force movement. Your task is to maintain the sacred economy of energy that now defines your connection. Honor the boundaries that your healed self has built. Trust the quiet that has replaced the old doubts. Resist the temptation to reach backward into the versions of yourself that no longer exist. You are walking through a world that has already rearranged itself to match the frequency of your union, and every step you take in alignment strengthens the bridge between the energetic and the physical. The structure of union has been completed in the invisible. The healing has reached its endpoint. The merging of timelines has already occurred. What remains is simply the material manifestation of what is already true. The moment when the energetic union crosses the veil and becomes physical reality. This threshold will not open gradually. It will not tap politely on your shoulder. It will swing open quickly, sharply, almost startlingly, and when it does, your only responsibility is to step through it without hesitation and without shrinking back into the old identity that once kept you safe. So keep your field clean. Keep your boundaries sharp. Stay awake, attuned, and ready. Union is not a hope. It is a trajectory, a direction, a gravitational pull that has already locked onto your timeline. The path has chosen you, and your only remaining task is to walk it with steadiness, courage, and an open heart. If you feel this truth resonating in your chest, I invite you to type, "I am ready to cross the threshold," in the comments to anchor your intention into the field. And if this message supported your journey, please remember to like this video, share it with someone who needs clarity, and continue with the next video waiting for you just below the screen. Your union is no longer a question. It is a destiny preparing to land in your hands. Be ready.